pack has arrived. If you unwrap that, take the blue strapping off, you can just cut that off with some scissors. Grab your square drive and your drill, unscrew those screws, pull the top off, take the pieces out. Let's get going. What I would suggest is that you get yourself a pair of gloves. The edges on these boards can be really quite sharp once they come off the CNC machine. So best thing to do to save yourself getting some paper cuts, wear a pair of gloves and start stacking. Right, so you've unpacked your pallet, now you've got all your pieces. So what I like to do when I have all my pieces in the shop is, come down here, I like to put them into their piles, basically, so that each one of these piles is a separate cabinet, and that way you're going to know you've got all your pieces for that particular cabinet. You can do one cabinet at a time, take it to wherever you're putting it together, and away you go. Generally what I like to do when I'm putting it together is like this. I've got a nice flat surface here. Now, if you've got wooden floor or tile floor or something that's flat and not carpet or anything with fabric on it, because like when you're putting your pieces together, you're potentially gonna catch stuff in there when it just doesn't work out. So if you can find a nice flat area to put the cabinets back together, that's the best bet. So let's get started. Let's put this together. Okay, so this is how our cabinets are made. So what happens is sides screw into top and bottom. So sides go this way, so you're always going to have your screws on your sides. Yeah. And then, so once you've got your sides screwed to your top and your bottom, then you're going to screw your back on. Now when I do the back, when you're putting it back together, basically they'll be reasonably flush all the way around. If they're not, it's not a major, nothing to really worry about, because it's only really what you see from the inside that's important. So even though there may be a slight little bit of variation here, you're not going to see that on the inside of the cabinet. It's all going to be nice and neat, nice and tidy, and that's it. Right, now with the feet, basically, if you see that shape there will go towards the outside. So basically what's happening is the weight of the cabinet, this edge here, this MDF edge that you can see here, that sits a little bit over that, so that takes the weight through the feet, through the cabinet. So the cabinet comes through here, and it's catching that weight that's coming down through the side. So all that loading comes down through there, a little portion catches on this foot here, and then down to the floor. Right, so when we're putting the feet on, basically you'll receive your feet like this. So there's a two-stage foot. You just pull it apart, because that's like the high setting there. You want to take that out. You want to shift that to the other setting. Where this sheath goes down further, and basically we're trying to get it to 120 mils. Now, the way that I do that is, if you look at the rings here on this screw, it's basically the third ring up. That's where I line up this bottom portion with, and that sort of gives me roughly 120 mils. And you just get it in there until it sort of jiggles, and then slam it down. First couple of cabinets, the ones that are supposed to be side by side. It's time to join them together. A couple of things to be aware of. Your skirtings are 120 mils. So we just want to make sure that roundabout, roughly at this stage, we've got about 120 mils from the bottom of the cabinet to the floor. Once we've established that, then we can go ahead, and what I like to do is I like to try and sort of level up the first cabinet, both left to right and also front to back. Now, this is a good size level. If you've got a smaller level to do across there, that would be great. Otherwise, you can still do it that way. So with the feet winding clockwise, cabinet goes up. If you wind it anti-clockwise, it goes down. So basically, we get the front edge pretty level, making sure that we've got that 120 mils. So it's all nice and good now. Then we're just going to check front to back. Now, chances are your cabinet's all going to be up against the wall. You're going to have a wall here. So basically, right, that's looking pretty good. So that's our starting point for our next cabinet to join up to that. So if we get that edge reasonably close to start with, so it's reasonably flush, stick our level back on. So we're bridging. We know this is level here. So we're bridging across this. And what we want to do is we want to make this whole thing level across here. So I might be able to see, but there's a little bit of gap here. So to get rid of that gap, and there's also a gap down here. So we want to drop this foot down, and drop this foot down here, until this starts to close up, and obviously we're starting to get level now. We're looking pretty level there. We just need to tweak this up. Right. And if you've managed to get yourself a couple of, all you need is two. Just two of these Irwin quick grip clamps are awesome, but any sort of clamp that is like this just acts as a bit of a third hand. So we want to make sure the front face is flush and the top face is flush. And once we've sort of got that in position, we can just clamp that together. Like so. And then you know that you're pretty much in the right space. Now I'll already have holes drilled in here, whatever side of the cabinet it's going to be. And basically once you've done that, you've lined everything up, those screws will go into the holes that they're supposed to go into. And that is how you join your cabinets. So you keep going, base cabinet, or base, or however this one is particularly laid out. And then once all the base cabinets are done, then we start doing and putting the bigger cabinets on the top. Right, putting on the back is the time for us to get the whole unit to be square. So what I like to do is I like to screw down one edge or a side, and then once that's all in, then do the bottom edge, making sure that everything's sort of flush and going into its hole, and then from that point on you will know that every other hole should line up when you're screwing your stuff in, because the cabinet should be square. Okay, now it's time to do our top open shelf cabinets. So we've got two spaces that are for each individual unit, left and right. You'll see those marked. And basically we start at the top of the cabinet, chuck our spaces in so they're hard up, get our shelf in there, and then screw that in. And once that's screwed in, then we can move down to the next shelf, especially on these big ones on the right hand side unit, and just keep going like that. So make sure the shelf is pushed hard against that spacer, and that spacer is pushed against the shelf above it, and then get those screws in. They should line up really well, and then go from there. Okay, so now it's come to that point where we're going to put the drawers in. I'm going to start with the actual runners, which go into the cabinets, and then from there we'll sort out the actual drawers themselves, and they'll slide right in. So you would have received 4 boxes like this. Maybe there's a 5th one that's got some bits and pieces in it, which are your rails for your drawers, and these things are the backs, your drawer backs and stuff, and also some of these clips, and these are to attach your drawer fronts to the actual drawers themselves. So don't worry about those right now. But in the main boxes, this is your actual drawer hardware in here. And what I like to do, first of all, see how that sticker's the right way up. We turn the box over, cut down here, what you get is you get the bottom runners first, and then the rest of your drawer hardware stays in there. It's all nice and tidy and nice and neat. So we grab these out, just like that. Thought these might have had left and right on them, but they're pretty self-explanatory. This is how they slide out. So the way that they slide out is the front. So when you see them like this, when you hold them like this and they're closed, this is the front here. And you'll see that by, you just play with that. All right. And plus, when you put it in the drawer, it sort of lines up with the hole. So basically, what we want to do is, show you this one, might be easier. So what we're going to do is we're going to line the holes up. Now on these on these draw runners, this third hole here will be the first hole in the front down here. Alright, so third hole down to first hole, and you can have some screws that are small like this, alright, with a square head on them. So those screws that you get, that I send you, will be, these are for the draw runners and the draw runners alone. So all we do, line up those holes, drill those in, and then you'll have a matching hole at the back. Right, so those are your draw runners in, all ready to take your draw. Right, let's get on to that. Okay, so now we're on to our drawers themselves. What I like to start out with is I like to start out with doing the back panel. So these panels here are going to be the backs of your drawers. So if we grab our brackets, so these are our brackets here, and the way that I like to do it, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this top, the top of your bracket and the top of this piece here completely flush. So the way that I like to do that is I like to put the edge bit down like this, and you'll see on your pieces already have the holes in them. So it should be pretty straightforward. But what I like to do is I like to rest my bracket like that so that we know everything's flat along the bottom, and then I can just screw it in from there. Just screw that in. You don't need to go overboard. Just 3 screws in this particular one should be fine. And as you can see, now that top bit is all flush. So on the back of the drawer, it's going to look nice. Right, let's do the other one. Okay, so that is our drawer back together. It's got our brackets on it, and it's all ready to go. So now we take our box that we're taking the drawer runners out of. Take that out. And what you'll have in here is you'll have your 2 sides, and then you'll also have these cover caps. Now eventually, once everything's in and it's all been adjusted so that everything's nice and good, these caps are just basically to cover those. So that's what those are for, so don't lose those. Right. So what we do with these is this portion here, right, that clips into these holes here. Okay, now for this one in particular, it should be these 2 holes at the bottom. And then what will eventually happen is our rails will clip onto the top there and then to the front of the drawer. So basically all we do is we just line these up like that. So that middle bit there along the bottom should be pretty close to the bottom of this, the back panel here. And these just basically push in. And then you're going to have your side connected to your back bracket. And that's that. So we connect both sides like that. And once again, I find this the easiest way. If the back's lying down like this, and then I can just slide these in, hear them click, like that. And then what we do these are our bottom panels. We know that there are bottom panels because you'll have this hole here. Now don't be concerned about this hole, don't worry about that. On bigger units, we actually stick a plastic piece in there to sort of screw back into the drawer front, and then the drawer doesn't flex, but these are quite small, so we don't really need to put that in. Basically what happens is, you'll see with this portion here, and on that side as well, that channel, there's a bit of a channel there, that's where our bottom slides into. So all we do, make sure that that round bit there is facing towards the bottom, so towards you if you've got it like this. Slide it in like that, push the sides in. Okay, see, it's in that channel now, and these middle bits are over the top. Make sure, what you want to make sure is that this front portion here is flush with that little lip on the front there. Okay. Once again, you're going to have the holes in there, so there won't be too much fussing around. But basically, if we just get your screw, make sure you're pulling this in tight, the side bit to the actual base itself. Like your screw in. Now there'll be only 3 screws in the bottom on each side. And do the other side as well. Okay, so that is now basically our drawer together. All we need now is just our drawer front and then our rails. Just so you can see what's happening. Right. So all we do is we take our drawer, gently just put it on top of those rails, and then at a point you'll have a bit of pressure, you'll hear that click, and you want to hear that click. And what I like to do is I like to pull everything out like this and give it a shove, just to make sure that everything's in there. So now that's your drawer with the soft close working. So now let's move to the drawer fronts. Okay, now it's time to attach the drawer fronts to your drawers. So we need to find, for each drawer, we need to find 2 of these. So these things here. So these are the clips that attach to the front of the drawer front, and then they clip into the drawer hardware. Now when you do these, with these, your sticker, the way it's written, all that sort of stuff, that's going to be the top, okay? Like this, runs right, this is the top. So with these are like hooks, and you want the hooks to be pointing down because they're going to clip in like that. So basically, we just line these up with the holes that will already be in there, and we're using these. I'll show you these little screws here, right? And they were used on the rest of the drawer front itself. So chuck these in. Okay, also what we want to do at this time is you want to take the rails out. And on the end of your rails, you're going to have this little, so you got dark grey here, and you're going to have this little light grey plastic piece here. Right, so you have those on each of your rails. So this hole at the top is for those, and what you want is you sort of want, well, how I like to do is the opening. See, it's got like it's probably hard to see, but it's kind of a C shape. That C shape there, or a U shape. If you look at it as being a U, that's how that you want it on there. So you want it basically with the U pointing up, maybe slightly to the side as well. Okay. Screw that on. Just put the other one. Screw this one on as well. Okay. So basically your drawer front is going to look like this. So you've got these little grey pieces at the top. You've got your hooks on here. This is the top. Okay. So from here, what we want to do is you want to pull your drawer out. Now these hooks, it's a bit hard to see. Anyway, these hooks are going to hook over the bar in there on both sides, and you're sort of going to push and pull down at the same time to get those clipped in. Right? Okay. So once those are clipped in like that, and you've got your drawer front on, what we do is we've got a left and a right for these. So what you're looking for is that flat bit is always going to go on the outside, and this plastic bit here, there, is going to clip down into, let's see if I can see it, into this piece here. Then chuck it on there like that. It's just going to clip in there, and then if we bring you around here, this grey plastic bit here, dark bit, is going to go into the light bit. Now it's got a little bit of a turning thing, so you just want to turn it till you get a little bit of tension in there, and then this grey plastic piece here, that slips over the top. Maybe a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Slips on over the top like that. So that's your rail on your drawer. Chuck the other one in. It's on there. Now that windy thing, see how this is flush here all the way through? If you were sticking out at the top, you'd wind it in. If you're in at the top and out at the bottom, you'd wind it out just to get, and that's basically what that does, to get that line sort of flat there. So now, so this is where we adjust everything in these drawers, is in this little panel here. Now, all the information is in this little booklet here that comes in every pack. There's a piece of this sheet. But basically what you want to do is, first of all, if you're going to adjust any of this, is this screw right at the back. You want to just undo that slightly. Okay, so that's going to allow that mechanism to move freely the way that it needs to go. You've got the one at the back, you've got this next one here, which is next to it, just here. This one makes the drawer go up and down. So you'll figure out which way that goes up and down, like that. You've got this one here with a little hook on it. That actually helps you eject that hook that you put onto the drawer front that ejects it out from this portion here. So you do that on both sides to take the drawer front back off if needs be. And then this one here, which is at the top, that makes the drawer go left and right, right? So left and right, up and down, and then once you've got everything sorted out, you just tighten that back up and then it'll all stay as it is. Right, so that's our drawer fronts attached. Like I say, if needs be, if you need to adjust them, which you will have to adjust them just to get them right. And what you're looking for is about a 2mm gap down here, 2mm gap down here, and a 2mm gap down here. Roughly. Even's good. Okay? So play around, see how you get on. And that's your drawers. That's how your drawers go together. That's your drawer fronts. Drawers in. Cool. Okay, so now it's come time to put your doors onto your cabinet. Each door is marked with the cabinet number adjacent to which cabinet it's going into, and it's also got a left and a right written on that. I'm not sure if you can see that around about here somewhere. Yep. So, and the way that these labels are on, they should be, you know, if you're reading it, you should clearly be able to see the top, so that should help you a little bit. So time to put these hinges on. Now these hinges are fantastic hinges, really easy to use. And basically all that happens is we slip that cup into the hole here, and you've got this, make sure that flange thing, this thing here is up, sticking up like that. And once you've pushed that hinge down into those holes and it's sitting quite nice and flat, all we do is we just push this back down, and that's it. No screws involved, no nothing like that. These work really well for taking the doors on and off. You just chuck them in there, and that's it. And then what we want to do, how can I show you that? Oh, there we go. So these clips here, they clip into these little grooves at the front of the hinge plate here, and then you just push it, and you push the hinge back towards the plate, and you'll hear it click in. And you're looking to hear that click. So you just chuck it in. What I like to do is I like to get both bottom and top in like that, and then click, click like that. And that's your door. Now, these have got adjustment on them as well. So let's see if we can get in a bit closer. Okay, so a little bit hard to see, but these are your adjustments here. So the one at the front, that makes the hinge go left and right, or in and out this way. So horizontally this way. And the one at the back makes the door come in and out from the cabinet. The in and out will get you to getting flush with this front face here to make sure it's all nice. If it's sticking out too far, then just wind it back in that way. And if it's too far in, same thing, wind it out.
Right, quick note. This screw here on the hinge plates themselves, that allows adjustment for the door to come up and down. So if you just screw that clockwise or anti-clockwise, you'll see which way it goes when you screw it. And that just allows that gap at the top of the doors to be a nice even 2mm between themselves as well.
The one at the front is for getting the space when this is closed, for getting that join nice and neat and uniform all the way down.